Hey everybody, Ken Coscia here, founder of the Trust Your Intuition Academy, lead instructor and international training director for the Silva Method. So glad you're here. Welcome, because today I want to share with you some tips on a vitally important topic. What I'm about to talk to you about affects every aspect of your life: the quality of your life, your health, your well-being, your performance, your proneness to accidents, mistakes, errors, how you feel, your mental state, your emotional state. I mean, I could go on. And what I'm about to talk about is, and you probably guessed, sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? And even if you think you're getting enough sleep, how are you waking up? What is the quality of your sleep? And how do you feel during the day? Do you have all the energy you need to do what you need to do? Well, there's a good chance how much you're sleeping and the quality of what your sleep is affecting that. So this is what I do, and I've been helping people for nearly 50 years take command, take control of their lives. It's what I do by teaching dynamic meditation exercises, by working with emotional intelligence. I've worked with a couple 100,000 people in over 27 different nations. And I basically also help people stay calm and focused and productive, even under pressure. And I like to do the same for you. And this I find is one of the most important topics. It's basic, yes. It's elementary, yes. And I don't mean to sound like your mom or, we all think we sleep fine. But there seems to be a sleep stigma attached to how much we sleep. Because, are you ready for this? Science. I'm not talking opinion. I'm talking about evidence-based science that's been going on, research for over 50 years now, tells us that we fellow human beings, each of us needs a minimum, are you ready? A minimum of 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Oh my God, Ken, are you kidding me? Who's got the time? And that's the point. Because we live, especially in the developing nations in our world, we live in a culture where there's a stigma attached to you're sleeping too much. You're like, man up, woman up. And people are staying at work later, bringing the work home with them, getting up early to get more done. And what seems to suffer is sleep. And I know you may have heard people say, well, I get by on 4, 5, 6 hours sleep. And that may be true on the surface. But I can tell you, if you look deeper into their lives, if you look deeper into their personal lives, on one level or another, as Dr. William Demott once said, if we're not getting enough sleep, it'll show up as what he calls a sleep deficit. He's a leading sleep researcher. He's been doing this work for over 50 years. I've been following. I've become an avid student, not just of personal development, but of health, of wellness, and brainwave and brainwave synchronization. And it is essential that each of us is getting normal, natural, healthy sleep each and every night. And if we're not consistently, then we'll have more aches and pains. It'll affect our mood, our temperament. It'll even affect your weight. People say, I'm doing everything right, and I just can't seem to take the weight off, or I'm gaining weight at the drop of a hat. I can tell you, if you're not sleeping properly and you're not getting a good quality sleep, it affects your metabolism. It affects the way your body deals with the calories you're absorbing, the fat you're absorbing, and it will show up. That's what's meant by a sleep deficit. The aches and pains, the mistakes, the errors. If we're not getting enough sleep, the first thing to go is memory, because the memories are not cemented. Cognition is affected, the higher thinking functions of the brain, our ability to think clearly and to strategize. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in sales, if you're a business owner, if you're a coach, if you're a social worker, a nurse, or just a mom or a dad, I don't mean to say just, because that's probably the most important job you could have, it'll show up in how you handle things and how you navigate life. And my mission is to help people. I want to be your how-to-do-it guy. I'm not here to talk theory. I'm not here to philosophize. I'm here to inspire and motivate you to take some action, guys. And what I'm about to share with you, these tips, these tools, will be the difference that can make the difference. Is it the be-all and the end-all? No, of course not. you do need a holistic approach. So all I want to say is, please make sure, honor yourself, love yourself, take the time to get a good quality sleep, and you'll notice that every aspect of your life will improve. You'll raise the bar. And there are even some thought leaders over the years who will attest to how little they sleep because they're so passionate and they go through the night and they do and that's great and that's so awesome. I love these guys. But again, if you look deeper into their lives, they've paid a price, some sort of sleep deficit. So let's talk about what can you do? How? Here's some tips for you. How can you enjoy a much better quality of sleep? Some people get to sleep okay, but they have trouble staying asleep and they wake up all during the night. That might be you. Some people have trouble getting to sleep, and some people have trouble getting to sleep and even staying asleep. So there are things that you can do. So first, let's just talk about the holistic aspect. Stress is our enemy. Distress actually is the enemy because it builds up. It's those little things. So forgive me, you may know these things, and I'm about to share some of the basic elementary things, but just because you know them doesn't mean you're doing them. So the holistic approach would be, you got to move on a regular basis. Walk regularly. I'm not talking about crazy, I mean, it's great to work out. Yes, it's great to get that vigorous, work for the heart, the aerobic effect. But just even walking on a daily basis, 20 to 30 minutes, will help to release a lot of the stress hormones that naturally build up because we live in such a crazy world and all the stuff, and we're bombarded by the media and everybody else with just all the craziness. I don't even want to go there. Drinking lots of water. You got to keep yourself hydrated. Often people think they're tired when they're hungry. Often people think that they're fatigued and they're what? Or they're hungry, or they're fatigued and they're thirsty. So you got to hydrate. I know it's elementary. Same thing I could say about caffeine. Now, I'm not about to tell you to stop because I like my espresso. But I don't drink 10 a day. I don't even drink sometimes 2 a day. 1, maybe 2. But what I'd say is if you have difficulty sleeping, and if you're prone to sleep disturbances, then you want to minimize your caffeine consumption around mid-afternoon, late afternoon, certainly at nighttime. You also want to be careful about what you eat before you go to bed. Because if you, for example, I don't like to go to bed hungry. I admit, even though the research clearly says it's good, it's healthy to go to sleep without much food in your system. Because if you're going to bed, especially on a full stomach or with food in your system, then some of the attention, some of the energy shifts from helping us restore and rejuvenate and the body doing what it's supposed to do, healing. Because again, if you're not getting enough sleep, the body won't restore and rejuvenate, and it will interfere with your immune system. It will interfere with your body's rate of recovery and healing from just even simple things, let alone major things. So instead of having cheesecake or the goodies and all the crap that we sometimes eat before bed, I found myself, I'll have a handful of almonds, a handful of walnuts, which actually is pretty good for you, and that does the trick. So be mindful about what you're eating, care for that. So those are some basic things. Let's look at some tips, and these are evidence-based research. Since 1971, I've been an avid student, researcher, and teacher, and liver of these principles. With that, it is essential that we get normal, rhythmic, healthy sleep, that we move from beta through alpha, through theta and delta, and we move through that sleep cycle. I'll just keep it simple. I'm not going to go into gamma and epsilon, etc. But the point is, there are things that interfere with the normal rhythmic cycles of sleep. There's a chart behind me that's not our topic here. And one of them is too much caffeine interferes. Not drinking enough water. Not dealing with stress. So for example, if you've got conflict in your life, you've got to resolve that. Not bury the hatchet, not hope it'll go away. Deal with it. Find solutions. Do what you need to do to resolve the inner conflict so that you're not burying the hatchet and you're releasing it, because it'll come back to haunt you. Second, make meditation part of your daily practice. And I'm not talking being a guru or being a mystic or being a monk, but just simply some eyelids closed, taking 1, 2, 5, maybe 10 minutes of just breathing slowly and deeply. thinking of your happy place, feeling some appreciation and gratitude. It's one of the most valuable investments of your time you could make, because you'll find that you'll think more clearly, you'll feel better, and it will help your sleep because you're taking care of it during the day. For example, if you've had children, you can remember, if ever they didn't nap during the day, I know I used to think, oh man, that's great. He didn't nap. Boy, he's going to sleep good tonight. Just the opposite. Because I got too stressed. It was too much. And then it interferes. And the same thing happens to you and I. If we're not releasing regularly during the day the stress hormones that naturally build up, then it will interfere with the quality of our sleep. So please make it a practice. Now here's some other tips for sleeping. If you are a Silva Method practitioner, and you've graced me, I want to give a shout out to you Silva Method graduates, especially those of you who have graced me with your presence in my classes. Some of you have known for 40 plus years. Thank you guys. So do review. We spent 4 days in the Silva Method immersion experience of life and intuition system building this out. 4 full days. I couldn't possibly do it in a short video. So go back and review your sleep management. Go back and review some of the principles, especially in day 1 of the training. However, even if you're not a Silva Method graduate, these tips will be essential and help. So you want to make a sleep routine. The brain, the body is very responsive to routines, to a framework, because it gives us a structure, a habit that becomes a habit that we can count on. So do your best, number 1, to go to bed at the same time each night whenever humanly possible. Second, you want to create an environment that's conducive to good sleep. So, for example, whatever you like to sleep, if you have to sleep with the teddy bear, make sure it's there. Make sure the room is not too hot. You say, but I like it to be warm. All the research shows we need oxygen for survival. And if the room is too warm, you're not going to breathe properly. It'll interfere with sleep. You'll probably snore more. And you won't get a good quality rest. So have lots of covers. Be snug and warm under the covers. But in the room, you want it to be a little on the cool side. Not freezing, but a little on the cool side. That will help you sleep better. Third, you want to sleep in a room that is as dark as possible, especially if you have trouble staying asleep. Frankly, for everybody, it's good advice, and especially those who are having difficulty, trouble. So if you have LEDs all over, turn off all electronics. You heard me. And in fact, no emails 1 hour, no social media 1 hour or so, maybe longer, before bedtime. Why? Because then it's in your head and you can't deal with it then, and it's going to be on your mind and you're going to dwell on it, and it's going to create anxiousness that will interfere with the quality of sleep. Get it in the morning. So 1 hour minimum before sleep, no emails, no social media, no phones on in your room. What I do is I put a cover over the cable box because it's so bright. We have blackout shades to keep the room as dark as possible. If you're traveling in a hotel, I know people who take duct tape. I don't go quite to that extreme, but you can cover the LED lights that more and more hotel rooms have. It's important. Why? Why is that important? Because light, the most active of our senses, is sight. It is approximated that 86% of input that comes into the brain, sensory-wise, is through sight. So if you have even a little bit of light in the room, it's a stimulant to the brain, and it's sensory input that will keep the brain a little bit more awake, I'll put it that way. And it will interfere with the depth of your sleep, and we need that deep, deep, deep sleep that helps us to restore and rejuvenate, and helps with the synchronization, helps to cement memories in. That's important in aiding cognition and healing, and the list goes on. The same thing holds true with sound. Although sight is the most active, sound also plays a part. So people who sleep with music or the TV on, gotta stop it, guys. Or put a timer on so that it goes off within 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour the most. Because anytime you have sound in the room, even if it's beautiful sounds, even if it's one of my guided meditations that people love, even if it's your favorite music. Very relaxing. It's sensory input that stimulates the brain, and sleep is for sleep. It's not for learning. It's not for beautiful music. It will interfere with the quality of sleep, let alone negative things that might be on in the background, but even the positive. So in other words, you want to deprive your senses. You want to quiet down the sensory input to the brain as much as you possibly can. Now, I know some of you live in cities or noisy environments. I feel for you. I'm sorry. However, do your best. Maybe sleep with earplugs. Maybe put on a blindfold. Whatever it takes. This is your life. This is about you taking command of your life, taking charge, taking control, and not complaining. You know, life is what it is. It's not always fair, and it's not always easy. So those are some of the things. In addition to that, biggie. I know you know how to breathe, and that's right, I'm about to tell you got to breathe. However, are you doing it? And when I say breathe, I've been also a student of breathing exercises, and slow, deep belly breathing helps produce more serotonin, which is the precursor to melatonin, which is what gets us to sleep. So, for example, just to be clear, you want to inhale very slowly through your nostrils, slow as you can, filling your body, filling your belly. Hold it for a couple of seconds, 2, 3, 4 seconds, and then exhale out your mouth. And on the exhale, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, just behind your teeth. So that's not an exhalation. And just think, release the stresses, release the tensions of the day. And you want to do that at least 3 times while you're in bed, your eyelids closed, up to 10 times. Many people won't even make it past 3, 4, 5 times. You'll be out like a light. And if you wake up during the night and you want to get back to sleep, slow, deep breathing like that 3 or 4 times. Very important. It's a difference. It will make the difference. And another tip that's huge for you and help. I use it all the time myself. The point about not having emails and social media is if you're worried about something, if you're ruminating over something, and you're thinking, or you looked at an email and say, oh my God, then even though you think you put it aside, you're going to wake up. And when you wake up during the night, which is very normal and natural, because we go through sleep and dream cycles that last about 90 minutes. It is the most common thing to become aware while you're in the dream state. It's very light, the very light alpha dream state. Very common. If you start thinking, though, freaking out about the dream or thinking about the day or that email, that's what wakes us up and makes it difficult to go back, because then the chemistry changes in the body, the stress hormones increase, we get adrenalized, and we become wide awake. So the key is what? Not to think about things, not to strategize. So what you got to tell yourself is, catch yourself and say, stop. Now is the time to sleep. Now's not the time to strategize. Now's not the time to think about this. I'll handle it in the morning. Give yourself permission to handle it in the morning and remind yourself that. Do your slow, deep breathing. And then, now depending on your spiritual background, depending on your ideology, we all have different expressions. So however you want to look at this, for me it's convenient to say bless someone, people in your life. Or imagine and or visualize a smile on people you care about, people you know in your life. Imagine and visualize a white light around them with a bluish tint. Imagine happy thoughts for the person. Some of you may want to say a prayer for people, but not to think a lot about them or their situation, but just kind of like a thought. So I find myself saying is, God bless Barbara, God bless Jason, God bless Grant, God bless Alana, God bless Jessica, God bless Bishop, and so on. I go down a list, and next thing I know, I'm out. Now, why is that important? I'm not going to go into detail, but the emotional intelligence aspect is that we tend to become what? Preoccupied with ourselves, and we worry, we ruminate. That creates tension, that creates anxiety, that causes the stress hormones to increase in the body, and that's what keeps us awake and adds to the stress factor in the body. So what you're doing by blessing someone, what you're doing by thinking happy thoughts for someone is You're shifting your focus of attention from me, to somebody else. It's a loving gesture. And in fact, philosophers have suggested that the frequencies of love and compassion free us from the binding energies of fear. And worry is your worst enemy. So what it does is, you don't want to think detail, it takes that attention from us. There's a shifting, and you'll find it'll help you to balance your energy and get back into good quality sleep. I hope you find this helpful, guys. Watch this video again. I know I went kind of fast with this. This is important. This is huge. And can I just ask you a solid favor? I appreciate you listening. If you're resonating with this and you're finding it of value, please help me get the word out. Would you share this with family and friends who you think could benefit? Share this video with them. I'm on a mission to help people take command, take control of their lives. I'm on a mission to help people, in this instance, improve the quality of their sleep. And you know, that mission is really for all of us because, let's face it, when you're a little bit better, a little bit more compassionate, a little bit kinder, a little bit more generous, because you got your life in order and you're in balance, it's like a ripple effect in the pond. When you throw a stone in the pond, it helps other people because you're easier to live with, you're easier to work with, you're easier to be with. It's easier to bring our best self with us when our life is working, when we're sleeping properly, when we're balancing the stresses in our life. So ultimately, a better you helps create what? A better world, a better community, a better world. And that's what this is about. That's how I've stayed true to this for all these decades, because we live in a crazy world, and it's really up to you and I as individuals to take command and help each other so that we can build a more positive community, state, nation, world. Also, if you're liking this and you want to follow more, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Contact me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook business page where I post regular videos and content. So you guys have a great one. Thanks again for listening.